Due to the impact of COVID-19, we're currently facing a new reality with expansive change happening every single day. You might be struggling to know what to lean into right now. Jodie Baker, founder of Heal You, has created the Corona Insights podcast to help ease your information overwhelm. Jodie is consuming, filtering, and sharing vast information from many sources she's validated over years of experience, so you can quickly stay up to date with these short podcasts. Jodie uses her natural intuitive abilities to help you get up to speed on the invisible possibilities ahead and integrate the new corona reality we are living in.
Hi team, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to explore who are our oppressors. Do we even have any oppressors? Some of you might be asking. Well, we might. We may not, but we might. So we're going to explore that. I'm going to share with you a story which has made me think that we've got oppressors in hidden places, places that we might not have realised. So the other day I posted something on Facebook which was fairly mild content. It was sort of questioning reality, questioning the mainstream story of the COVID-19 story. Nothing very explosive. It wasn't full-blown conspiracy or any of that stuff. It was I didn't write it, I just shared it. But it was pretty much just a very mild, what would you call it? It wasn't a statement, just a very mild post that, invited people to question what's going on, question the official narrative, to say. I didn't really give it too much thought because I do spend a lot of time researching and listening and learning about all sorts of narratives, all sorts of alternative opinions or alternative ideas about what might be going on at the moment, as opposed to the official story. And this was nothing very explosive at all. But it got responded to by a few very passionate, abusive comments, to say the least. So I suppose what I'm saying is it was clearly a trigger, and there were a few people in particular who found it very disturbing and basically, attacked, I suppose. Not in a massive way, but attacked. Anyway, so that happened, and I thought, well, gosh, that happened. And it was sad for me because I certainly didn't sort of set out to do that. I wasn't really, Facebook for me is for friends and family, and admittedly I do sort of put some controversial content on there sometimes because I feel so passionately about certain things, in particular Julian Assange, or losing our freedom of speech, or losing our liberties and whatever. So little things that I see happening over the years that make me wary, I might share just to sort of open up people's minds a little bit, to look further than mainstream media. But anyway, that aside, I was sad because it kind of got other people to sort of jump in, and it sort of turned into a little bit of a negative situation, which is the opposite of what I'm trying to achieve in my life. I'm sort of more into unity and love and expanding the heart and all the things that I believe that we need to be focusing on at the moment in order to survive this situation. And I caused the opposite to happen within family, to say the least, which has made it even more sad for me. But anyway, that was a few days ago and we've moved past that. So today I got sent quite an explosive piece of content, which was very controversial and very compelling, to say the least. And I was, whoa, and I wanted to share it to everybody because I was like, wow, everybody needs to see this. It's essential. And why? I suppose because as a globe, we've all been asked to shut down the full global economy. We've been asked to shut down our businesses and to stay home and to not see our family, to not breathe the air, to not hug people we love, lots of big things, right? And we've been asked to do that. and we've done it. And for good reason, because there is a pandemic, there's a virus going around, and it's pretty scary, and we want to protect lives. So I'm not saying that that's not happening, but I'm just saying that when authority tells you to do that, don't you think we should have the right to ask some questions? Especially when authority has proven, if you look at history, has always been shown to be dodgy, to say the least. Like, how many governments or regimes look, I don't want to get into that, but let's just say that corruption is rife in government bodies. We kind of know that, okay? So they've got a reputation. So when they turn around and tell us to shut down world as we know it, we should have the right to ask a few questions, don't you think? Anyway, so this content that I was sharing from Sean Whelan, which was awesome, I wanted to share to my peeps because I felt like, gosh, guys, this is really interesting. We should be asking a few more questions. This guy's got a really good point. But I couldn't do it because I was afraid. I was so afraid because the last time I put something up, which was asking people to ask a couple of questions or open their minds up a little bit, I got attacked in a way that really hurt my heart because it was coming from people dear to me. And, rather than them sort of disagreeing with me, they kind of felt like I was being attacked personally, which, is hard to cope with, right? But that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but the impact that did on me has made me, it has closed down my voice. Like, it's made me not want to express my freedom of speech. It has made me shut down my questioning or my need or want or desire to share with people information about questioning what's going on around here, just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. I feel like we need to be questioning things. We would be silly not to, right? I mean, obviously there is a virus, clearly, and it's scary. But is it big enough and scary enough to close down the whole globe? Like, are people really getting that? Like, the whole globe, everything, the global economies. Like, I mean, I can't even describe all of the things that one little statement actually means, because it's too much. And I think for a lot of people, they're still not really integrating that concept into them because it's way too much. It's just way too much to really fathom. So what I'm saying is that due to the attack, the last time I tried to share some information, I'm afraid to do any more. There is an oppressor right there, close to me, in my family. If we're afraid that the government are going to start shutting down freedom of speech and disallowing people to perpetrate or further or expand or share opinions outside of the government message or the traditional media message, if we're afraid that they're going to shut that down, we don't have to be afraid anymore, because there are like sleeper agents, I almost want to call them. They're like, a lot of the population have been unconsciously groomed to do that role for them. And they're coming out now enforcing the law. So another way of putting that is a family member says, hey, guys, we need to look at this further. There's this huge, something big's coming on here, bigger than I can even fathom. Do you think we should explore? Should we look deeper? Should we explore it a little bit further? Ask some questions? And how they react to that is that they absolutely jump on top of you and squash that straight away. That's gone. That is oppressive freedom of speech. That is an oppressor. They don't even realise it. So I'm not laying blame and saying these people are bad at all, these are, mostly people that you love. They've just unconsciously falling into a role that they didn't realise or haven't realised that they're doing, because they're only doing what this inbuilt reaction is for them to do anyway. So, yeah, it's no ill will. But I just want to point that out, that your oppressors are right next to you. So be aware of that. Because if the one thing that we need to hang on to is our freedom of speech and our freedom to explore and ask questions, especially in situations like this. Like, I'm not going to go through history and talk about world wars and Hitler and all that sort of stuff, but, there's a lot of things have happened in history where dictators and governments have started to lead people down paths and they didn't ask any questions, and the next thing you know, they're in a reality that they certainly wouldn't have chosen if given the option at the start, but it just happened because nobody asked any questions. This probably sounds quite dramatic to somebody listening who has no idea what I'm talking about in terms of the negative possibilities, the conspiracy type ideas that are floating around right now about, say, potentially the COVID-19 being a giant scam. So that probably won't make any sense to you. But if you want to find out more about it, I think that maybe listening to Sean Whelan's content, his live feed that he released, is probably a great way to get started. So if you're interested in that, private message me and I'll send you the link to it. And, all I'm asking you to do is look deeper, ask some questions. I think, that's the smart thing to do, right? Anyway, and also be aware that there's some oppressors around you that you may not have realised. Maybe you're one yourself. And if you are, the only way to find out is ask yourself, when you feel triggered, if somebody says something that you haven't seen on mainstream news or doesn't go along with the official narrative, if you feel triggered to protect it and shoot down alternative ideas, ask yourself, why are you doing that? Do you have valid reason to do that? Are you fully researched and have you really explored all possibilities to know for sure that what you're fighting for is true? Because if it's not, then it's quite dangerous what you're doing there. I'm just asking people to be well researched and be sure about what they're fighting for. I love all you guys. I'll speak to you later.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you'd like more information on Jodie and her work as a self-healing mentor, please go to www.healyou.me.